And welcome back to the LFSN Arts Center here for the pregame show. And joining us now, Melanie Newman. Now, Melanie, you had a chance to talk to the new assistant coach, Jay Cannon, played on the team a few years ago. How did you feel he made the transition from being a player to now being a coach?
Well, I did get to catch practice a couple times this week. You know, he can only come in Tuesdays and Thursdays, but his biggest focus is being able to change that role. He went from player to chaplain to coach, which almost nobody ever does, and especially at a Christian school, he said is his big focus. They're more than hockey players, he said they're brothers in Christ. And so he's taken that to really develop the leaders on this team, and they've come together to focus on speed, and what they've been doing on and off the ice has been phenomenal.
That's right. And, you know, I remember when he played here a couple of years ago, I had a big goal against Penn State. If you and me, we remember that. But
oh, yeah.
You had a chance, like we said, to sit down and talk to him and ask him about some of the challenges of becoming an assistant coach as opposed to being a player. And we have that piece for you guys.
Kirk has been tremendous to me and my family. He's looked out for us, you know, here in Lynchburg, and Coach Becker as well since I got here. I actually stayed at Jeff's house on the first night I got down here in Lynchburg, and I didn't get in until 1 a.m. So I haven't really apologized to him for it yet, but he was nice enough to stay up with me late at night, and that's the kind of guys that Kirk and Jeff are. They're awesome, and you know, Kirk has looked out for me in my career and in my family, and same with Jeff. So it's been awesome, and they've been great to me so far, always encouraging me as a coach and just keeping me going. It's new for me, so they're helping me, and they got a lot of experience winning a lot of games here at Liberty. So I'm excited that they would, you know, ask me to work with them, and I'm having a great time. So yeah, like I've been saying, you know, speed is more than just, you know, moving around quick on the ice like a water bug. Speed is a mentality, and I think we have a lot of depth this year. Rick was definitely a great player, a goal scorer. But we do have a lot of guys now that can step up to the plate, and I think we're really trying to develop the thought processes of the game, the mentality of, you know, playing fast, playing under control, playing composed first and foremost. So not so much, you know, moving around as quickly as possible, but more so just taking care of the puck, taking care of what we need to do as a team, focusing on what we need to do out there every game, and just letting the rest happen. So
it's some interesting words from Hannon, and as you can see here, the lights are off, and this game is about to be underway. But before we get to the action, anyway, how did you feel he? Obviously, it's probably the first time he's ever had an interview as a coach. How did you feel he came across to you as far as assimilating into the coaching position?
Well, he made it very clear that growing up from a young age as a player, hockey has always been a part of his life. So after he graduated and had to hang up the skates, he was happy to come back as a chaplain, but then even more as a coach, because it just puts hockey back in his life. He said he can't imagine not being involved in it, and no matter how hectic everything gets, it always comes back to the rink.
Yeah, and Devin, like Hannon mentioned during the interview, he talked about how losing Turner was going to be something that you know, was obviously big for the Flames. But he also mentioned how an aspect of speed and how it's not just moving fast. So it sounds like he's really trying to ingrain a new, almost offensive style here with the team, and really focusing more on the mental and the smart hockey.
Definitely, and that was something he noticed, and I said, you know, what are you doing to really bring out the speed in the players? He said, play smart, and they've got a lot of depth, and when you combine the two, it can fake speed. So, especially tonight, we've got a freshman who's out there starting. They're looking really strong, and he thinks that they've got what it takes. They just got to play smart.
All right, let's see you in the first intermission. And welcome to the post-game show here at the LFSN Arts Center. And I think that the game kind of went exactly the way we planned. But exactly the way we expected it to go in a 9-2 blowout.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Liberty figured they wanted to do. They executed their game plan. They came out, and I mean, we knew it was going to be a blowout from the start, so nothing really special tonight.
And I think for the Hampton Whalers, you have to feel pretty good about yourself. I mean, and yeah, you got blown out, but at the same time, they put 2 goals on the net, on the board, and I mean, you can't really hang your head low if you're coming into a D1 school playing at their barn and putting 2 goals on the net. Granted, yes, it's a rookie goaltender, but still, 2 goals on the board, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell they were a little timid out there. They weren't really expecting the big hits that Liberty was throwing, so they were a little scared. They tried to work through it a little bit as the game went on, but still not that solid, and they'll probably be looking to come out at least knowing what they're expecting tomorrow. What did you think about the game today, Melanie?
You could definitely see what Coach Hannon was talking about, trying to develop the speed, playing smart. Certainly played out tonight. We want to see them eliminate some of the errors that they committed tonight. A little too much time in the penalty box. But again, like you said, it's a young team. Impressed. Defense certainly took care of Pennell since he sat in the goal. So we're only looking to see maybe an even bigger blowout tomorrow night.
And I think you make a good point about a penalty, because it seemed like every time we looked down on the ice, there was a flame in the penalty box. And something that was a problem last year for them was penalties. And I think that the coaching staff probably saw this as maybe a learning curve to see, hey, listen, even against these teams, we can still have problems if we're in the penalty box.
Yeah, obviously Liberty didn't want to spend as much time in the box tonight as they did. They're going to have to work on that, because that just shows a lack of effort, a lack of speed out there. They're taking a lot of tripping calls, and that's just not something you can be doing, especially against a team like the Whalers. So going to have to look for that and to try to clean up their act a little bit tomorrow and stay out of the box.
And Melanie, you mentioned we had the pregame where you talked to Coach Hannon, but as far as the way the lines went, and it seemed like everything went pretty flawlessly for the Flames, how do you feel he assimilated into the coaching position in the game time sense, at least?
Well, you could certainly see how effortlessly he moved into it, and I think that has a lot to show, not only for having been a player so very recently, but to have never really come off the ice. He communicated effectively. He made sure that it was a multifaceted attack for this team. You know, they had to change it up several times if a certain offensive spread wasn't working, and I think he made the adjustments flawlessly. You can tell it's definitely his natural setting.
And I think we got to throw a tip of the hat to Coach Handy. Of course, coming into the season, you know, you can't really say you know exactly what you're going to get from these new guys, and I think that the recruiting, at least over the summer, was fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. A bunch of the new players really stepped up today.
Mistel especially. He played well tonight.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The new guys between Mistel and you know, some of the other guys, Pennell and net, they really stepped up today, helped spark the offense, and this was exactly what we were looking for Liberty to do this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go into the season and face some of their ACHA opponents with this new offense.
And I sent this question to Kevin in between the periods, and I'm going to ask you to put on your coaching hat and talk about this Hampton team. What do you tell your guys when you go into the locker room after a loss like this, knowing you have to come back here tomorrow night?
As a coach, you don't look at the loss, you don't look at the win. Tomorrow's a brand new day. It's the start of a season for them, and like we've said, they're coming in playing an extremely talented Division I level team, and that's the most you can ask out of your players, that they put in the effort. It's not about the points for them right now.
Well, Kevin, how about a quick prediction for tomorrow? How do you see the game going in the second matchup now these teams know a little bit more about each other? I don't expect to see nothing out of Goku tomorrow.
Well, we're going to have to see what the Hampton Whalers can do. It's going to be interesting as they've gotten a little bit of a taste of the physicality of Liberty, and Liberty now knows they have to stay out of the box, so we'll see what happens.
All right, well, tomorrow, like we said, Hampton coming back into the barn and playing Liberty again. It's going to be another interesting matchup. Maybe it'll be a little closer. We'll see about the coaching changes. But until then, thank you for joining us on the post-game show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Now we're going to send it down to Melanie with her take on today's game at ice level.
Thanks, guys. Well, we've already got 3 goals here for Liberty coming up very quickly, some of which were scored by Kuhn, Groh, and recently Garcia. Now, this game is a chance for Liberty to really get some of the younger guys in there and see what they can do. Garcia proved to be productive as a freshman, and obviously he's coming back very strong as a sophomore.
Okay, now we're going to send it down to Melanie with the assistant coach of the Hampton Road Whalers.
And we are down in the box with assistant coach JJ. Now, you guys are fighting hard out there on the ice. What is the biggest goal or gain you're looking at coming away from this weekend?
We just want to get the kids some exposure at this level, something that our guys aren't used to. So I think it's nice to see the crowd and get them in front of these guys. We just want to correct our mistakes, learn from them, and move forward.
And now you have made quite a bit of a drive, so how do you think they've adjusted to this big crowd and this atmosphere so far?
I think today we started off a little slow, but the second half of the period we turned things around. We got a huge kill there. We just got to build momentum and hopefully come back in the second period the way we finished the first period.
All right, well, we'll look forward to the second period. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Melanie. And that was the assistant coach talking about the slow start. We were speaking.
Thanks, guys. We're down here with Liberty's head coach, Kirk Handy. Now, this has been a pretty gritty game, especially compared to last night, but you've got some big senior leaders out there, particularly with McComb and Sherry. What is it that you've seen reflected onto the younger team that's come in so far?
Well, those guys work hard, and they've also got a great attitude, and those are 2 things that set the senior leadership apart for sure.
And so you're going into the third. What kind of changes are you looking at making for your team right now?
Well, we have to stay out of the penalty box. That's the first thing. And, we want to get back to getting the puck in deep, laying the body, gaining puck possession in the offensive end, and then creating chances off of that. We have to keep a man high in the zone and make sure we're coming back in the zone to help out on the back check. Those are things we're going to work on here in the third.
And now you've still got your freshman in there, Matt Pinnell, who's at goalie. How are you feeling about his performance over his last 2 starts?
Matt's played really well. He's made some big saves for us, and he's kept us in both these games for sure.
So, Coach, we'll see you in the third.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So we're talking about just.
Thanks, guys. Well, during the break, unfortunately you missed it, but there was a pretty tough hit for a Hampton Whaler out there. Now, I had a chance to talk with the assistant coach, JJ, and he said he's going to be just fine. Not sure whether he's going to come back, just some shoulder pain, however, and certainly something he'll be able to bounce back from. Guys, back to you.
So as we enter this final frame here before